fourth grade again. Anyway, so we are going over how to make cinematic, what settings you need with the EOS R. And we're gonna try and do it in under 4 minutes because I am not trying to waste your time on this like so many people do with like 15-minute videos for like 3 settings. So, but first, order how things are gonna happen. We're gonna go over why things look cinematic, because even if you have the best settings in here for it, it's still not gonna just look cinematic because you have settings in there. Just like video out of the EOS R doesn't look good if you shoot it bad, just like any other camera. So we're gonna go over that first, and then we're gonna go into exactly the settings, and then we're going to go into the actual editor and show you what you have to do to it afterwards to make it look cinematic. Let's roll. So first up, what makes things cinematic? I've shot a little short, super, like it's whatever. I did it so that I could show you the color correction and kind of what I'm talking about. What makes things cinematic? And really what it is taking a two-dimensional thing, like what you're viewing right now is two-dimensional, and making it feel 3D. And how you do that is by having depth and having contrast and having colors, contrast, color contrast, contrast, yes. And so how you can do that is by having, there's 3 really simple ways to do this right. Backlight, have things moving across dimension-wise, so it's like foreground, subject, background, and then like curving around them. And then the other one is to have different color contrasts in them. 3 simplest ways, really don't want to waste your time. If you don't understand what I'm saying there, go and figure it out. That's really why this plug is here for that, so that you can understand how to shoot that better, more cinematic looking stuff. And have, well, let's get into the settings now. So when you go to shoot, you're going to want to, so contrast is a huge part of making things look cinematic. What that means is having your blacks look blacker and your lights look brighter, so you can get more detail in your highlights and your shadows. That's what you're looking for, because that's what cinema cameras have, is very, very high dynamic contrast. So they're able to catch a wide area of what it is. So going in, log is the best way to do it. You can't shoot 10-bit, but you can shoot 8-bit on this without, okay, so if you have an adapter on top, you can shoot a capture card, you can shoot 10-bit, but you know that not everybody has $1,000 to pop on that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come into your settings, and you're going to go into the first one, red camera, and you're going to go to your, well, first off, you want to shoot in 24 frames a second. So you're going to go into 24 frames a second and enable, because that's what all the cinema cameras used to roll to, is like 23.89 or something like that. So 24 frames a second gives you the most feel that way. Next up, what you're going to do is go into your camera, and to get the motion blur that cinema cameras have as well, you're going to go in and put it at twice your shutter speed, or twice your frame rate. Your shutter speed should be twice your frame rate, so put it at 50. That's going to give you the motion blur. What that means is if you drop it down, it's going to give it more blur, and then if you raise it up, it's going to make it more choppy, as if it was just pictures being taken over and over again, which is what they used in Saving Private Ryan to make it more action film feeling. Whereas if you had a scene where somebody is getting high and everything's all like loopy, then you could drop the shutter speed to show that. And 50, if you're shooting at 24 frames a second, having your shutter speed at 50 is where you're going to get that cinematic look. Then also on your ISO, you're going to want to keep it as close to 400, because that is going to give you the most dynamic range for this camera. So as close to 400 as you can shoot is the best deal. Then going into your log settings, which is actually where you're really going to get your dynamic range in, is you're going to go over the very last number 4 in the red camera, and you're going to down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, and your log settings. You're going to click into that and click 8-bit on. Boom, 8-bit done. Then I like to use the view assist, because otherwise it's a very bland picture on the back and it's really hard to tell depth and what's going on inside the screen. So I've turned that on, and then go down to color matrix and turn it off from cinema EOS R original to neutral. What that really helps is helps you in post to give you at least I've found that it makes it way more realistic afterwards when you boost it and push around the colors. You don't have to adjust or pull out any of the colors. And then characteristics, strength is going to be at 4, and that is pretty much it. That is all the settings that you're going to need, and then you're going to shoot your film like I just did a moment ago before this, and then you are going to put it in your computer, and we're going to go do that right now. So I guess I'll go grab my computer. So, believe it or not, this was 100% unscripted, and I've done it in one take. So what you're gonna do from here is I need to open up OBS. Okay, so you're gonna drag and drop your, oh my goodness, why is this being such a... Okay, now it's crashed. Solid. Solid. The only hitch that has gone off in this entire video is my software. Okay, yeah, you see this block? This is for a laptop, it's huge. It's almost like big enough to be for a regular computer. Okay, I think we're good. Maybe. So you're in here, yes, now it's working perfectly fine. Power helps with laptops. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come in here, you're gonna drop it in. I'm going to actually remove let's make this bigger. So I dropped it in, I've removed the audio from it, and then what you're gonna do is you're going to, so it's just this little thing, and this is what it looks like when it is in log. So it's very, very flat image because it has pulled out a lot of that contrast, but we're going to put that back in. So I kind of tried to use some of those things that I told you about, contrasting colors and blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, it was just so that I could show you how to color correct. Let's actually move this to a better location to color correct. I'm going to choose right here where I have the whites and I have the black, and then I have a few other colors that are going to contrast really well. So always first mess with your exposure. So I'm going to bring it up just a little bit, and that starts to bring in a little bit of grain. But if you adjust everything and then you raise your exposure, that's going to mess with the colors that you've just set. So first things first is usually put in that contrast. So as you can see, it's already gone from being very, very flat to now having that good contrast and depth. I'm going to actually push highlights a little bit just for the sake of this one because I like how that looks. And then I'm going to actually drop the shadows a little bit because I enjoy the way it pulls things out of the image. And then I'm going to boost saturation ever so slightly. And then we can watch it again. And already it looks way better because all the colors, I didn't even have to pull any of the colors or correct them, and it already looks really good how I would pretty much exactly like it to look. Yeah, obviously it's not the best and prettiest thing, but that is what you need to do to get really good images and cinematic look out of your EOS R. So if this video helps you out, we go over everything mirrorless Canon cameras. My name is Daniel, and don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you enjoyed this shorthand style of doing videos, because that's what I'm going to try and do more of these tutorials to not waste as much of your time. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Take care.